Have you ever done this? You're about to do something, maybe something tiny, like order a coffee, and you suddenly feel like someone's watching. So you change your mind. It seems like nothing, right? But it could actually be a sign of something way bigger. Let's get into the story of an architect, a guy named Elias whose simple coffee order tells us everything about a life lived in fear of what other people think.
So picture this. We're in a super busy coffee shop. The line is practically out the door. And our guy, Elias, is mentally rehearsing his order. It's specific, a little complicated, sure, but it's the one drink he absolutely loves. He's next in line, he's about to say it,
And then he hears it. The guy behind him lets out this big, impatient sigh. And poof, just like that, Elias's whole perfectly crafted order just vanishes from his mind. He panics and defaults to the simplest, quickest thing he can think of, a large black coffee. He walks out with this bitter drink he doesn't even want, all to avoid what? A few seconds of potential judgment from a complete stranger. Why do we do that?
well, that whole coffee thing, it wasn't really about the coffee. Not at all. It was a window into a much deeper problem. Elias was living his entire life in the shadows. He was just chronically, and I mean exhaustingly, obsessed with the opinions of this, let's call it a phantom jury. This invisible panel of judges was in his head 24/7, and they dictated everything. His clothes, always bland, totally neutral so he'd never stand out. His social life, he'd say yes to things he absolutely hated just to seem easygoing. But the worst part, it was poisoning his work, the one thing he was truly passionate about.
And right here, you can see the real cost of his fear. Elias is an architect, a brilliant one. His first vision for this new conservatory was incredible. It was daring, it looked like a wave, it was a masterpiece. But then that phantom jury started whispering in his ear, What if they think it's weird? What if they laugh at you? So one draft at a time, he just sanded it down. He flattened the curves, erased the magic, until all that was left was a safe, boring box. It wasn't a building anymore, it was an apology.
And this is where Clara Vance walks in. She's this legendary architect, a guest consultant at his firm, and she sees right through it. Her words, wow, they're brutal. Yeah, but they're exactly what he needs to hear. They cut right to the core of the issue and force Elias to finally face the truth. His fear was literally killing his talent. And that confrontation, that's what changes everything.
Now here's the good part. Clara doesn't just tear him down. She gives him the tools to rebuild. And it all boils down to these three liberating truths that are about to completely reshape how he sees the world. Okay, tool number one is understanding something called the spotlight effect. It's a cognitive bias that basically all of us have. We walk around feeling like there's a giant spotlight on us, and everyone, is watching and critiquing our every move. But here's the liberating truth Clara gives him. You're not the star of everyone else's movie. They're the star of their own movie. They're not paying that much attention to you. To prove it, Clara makes him do something wild. She makes him wear this ridiculous neon pink feathered hat and just walk down a busy street. He's mortified, totally convinced every single person is staring and laughing at him. But they filmed it, and the proof is right here. Look at that number. 3. Out of about 50 people they passed, only 3 even glanced in his direction. Nobody cared. The audience he was so terrified of didn't even know the show was happening. So if nobody's actually watching, why does the fear feel so real, so physical? That brings us to the second truth, the evolutionary trap. See, our brains are basically running on outdated software. Back for our ancient ancestors, getting rejected by the group was a death sentence. If you got kicked out of the tribe, you were facing the saber-toothed tigers alone. So our brain's alarm system still treats social rejection, like your boss disagreeing with your slide deck, like it's a life or death threat. So the trick is learning to override that ancient alarm. Clara gives Elias this mantra. When that panic starts to rise up, he's supposed to just pause, take a breath, and consciously tell his primitive brain, hey, thank you for trying to keep me alive, but there are no tigers in this boardroom. It's a really simple way to use your conscious mind to diffuse that biological illusion of danger.
Now, this doesn't mean you should just ignore everyone and become a jerk. Not at all. The goal isn't to stop caring what anyone thinks. The goal is to stop caring what everyone thinks. And that's where the third truth comes in, this circle of trust. This is all about being intentional and curating your critics. So, to get into this very exclusive circle, a person has to meet 3 simple criteria. 1, they have to love you. 2, they have to truly want the best for you. And 3, they need to have some relevant expertise. Look who makes Elias's list. It's tiny, right? It's intentional.
These are the opinions he's going to listen to, really deeply. Everyone else, their opinions are just weather. You notice it, but you don't let it ruin your whole day.
And for dealing with all that weather, the criticism from people outside the circle, like that impatient guy in the coffee shop, there's a filter. Before you shrink yourself to please someone, you run their opinion through this rule. Will this matter in 10 days? What about 10 months? How about 10 years? It's amazing how this puts that short-term social panic into a much bigger, calmer perspective.
Okay, so Elias is now armed with these incredible new tools. He's not just designing buildings anymore, he's redesigning his own mind. But, knowledge is one thing, action is another. Now he has to actually use these lessons in the highest stakes moment of his career.
He's at the city council meeting, and he's presenting his real vision. That bold, beautiful, wavy glass design. And boom! Right away, he gets hit with this cold, sharp criticism from a really powerful councilwoman. The old Elias would have just crumbled. He would have apologized and promised to bring back the boring box. You can just feel that phantom jury screaming in his ears.
But this isn't the old Elias. He takes a breath. He remembers the spotlight effect. He remembers his circle of trust. And guess what? She's not on the list. And he responds not with fear, but with conviction. He actually defends his vision with this passion and clarity that shocks everyone, especially himself. He's not apologizing for his ideas anymore. He's championing them.
And the result is so fascinating. The room doesn't get angry. The heavy, awful silence he was always so afraid of, it's replaced by something totally different. It's this electric, crackling silence of respect. He didn't get kicked out of the tribe. The tigers didn't get him. By finally standing his ground, he earned the very thing he'd been chasing all along by trying to please everyone: genuine respect.
Elias' story is so powerful because it's not just a story, it's actually a blueprint. So let's break this whole thing down into 4 actionable steps that you can start using in your own life, like today.
First things first, actively, consciously, remind yourself about the spotlight effect. The next time you feel like you're being judged, catch yourself and just say, nope, spotlight effect. People are not obsessing over your choices. They're too busy obsessing over their own. You are not under a microscope.
Second, when you feel that physical anxiety creeping in, the sweaty palms, the racing heart, give it a name. Recognize it for what it is, an evolutionary glitch. Your brain's outdated hardware. Say it out loud if you need to. There are no tigers here. Just by labeling it as a biological illusion, you take away so much of its power.
Number 3, and I mean really do this, take out an actual piece of paper and define your circle of trust. Write down those 3 to 5 names, the people who love you, want the best for you, and know what they're talking about. This little list becomes your shield. From now on, if a critic's name isn't on that list, their opinion is just weather. You can notice it, and then you let it pass you by.
And finally, step 4, use the 10-10-10 rule as your go-to filter. Before you water yourself down or change your mind to please someone, just quickly ask, is their opinion really going to matter to me in 10 days? In 10 months? In 10 years? This one question will protect your future self from the temptation of cheap, short-term approval.
Because look, fitting in might feel safe for a moment, but it robs the world of what makes you, you. The world has enough chameleons blending into the background. What it really needs are people who have the guts to paint the room with their own colors. So let me ask you, what colors are you holding back?
Please like and subscribe.